born an athlete, you'll die an athlete. It's in your DNA.
You're an athlete. Live like an athlete so that you can be successful in life.
You're an athlete. Live like it.
ANA, America needs athletes. Athletes into the gym closet. Surprise everybody with a quick intro. If this is your first time joining us, thank you for joining us. Make sure to like, subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Leave a review on all of the fun stuff that you are listening to this on. We got a special one today.
We do.
Agrees. Yes. All right. So we got a special one today. We're here as always with Amber and Dan.
What's up?
Zach got kicked out because
Zach
we
is
were still
out.
in our old studio for one last week. Next week we will be all moved over hopefully and be coming with a little bit more space. I wonder what the difference is as far as like what it'll look like.
Yeah, we'll see.
Maybe you can speak on this, Lydia. And
Okay.
so I'll introduce. And with us, special guest Lydia. Say your last name.
Krzyzak.
Krzyzak.
Krzyzak,
Okay.
not
Yeah.
for long.
No.
Yep, not for long. So she is joining us today, but you've watched it
Mhm.
I know I can see it on here, but what's the perception compared to the feel if you're watching it? Does it look a lot bigger?
Yo, yeah,
Does it?
for
Okay.
sure.
Because she walked in and she's like, whoa, this is a really small closet.
Right.
So the perception on there is definitely
Yes,
bigger,
okay.
I think.
Yeah.
But I think, we're so used to seeing it that we just don't know any different. Like,
Right.
there it looks just as small as it actually is. So now this might be the last one. So now you
Yeah.
can't watch it in here, but you're going to be like, that's a small space.
Well, I'm also
Yeah.
thinking, is the other one going to look the same size, but it will be different? Or, you know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
will it look twice as big?
We'll have to see.
It'll be interesting. All right. But today, like I said, we are joined by Lydia. She is our team Chiro, and she just opened up her own practice. And we're going to talk a lot about that today. But welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Of
Thank you for
course.
doing it. So you're supposed to do this last week, but we ran into some issues with the kids. So thanks for being flexible on it and
Yeah,
coming in
always.
today. So, but we appreciate you. Everybody that comes and sees you knows that you're amazing. We know you're amazing and very, very educated. You're just a smart person and awesome to be around. So thanks for being here.
Thank
So
you.
why don't you start with your background? Where you grew up, what kind of life looked like when you met Dan, and all the goods, all the goods.
Little baby Daniel.
Thanks. Now everybody's gonna see that. Awesome.
Fine.
It was on a tight view, so she was just pinching the cheeks
You're-
of the
Oh.
outside of the screen.
Yeah, so I grew up in Grimes, Iowa, so not too far from here. Back then it was gravel roads
I'm
and very
sure.
small.
I can't even imagine how much it's changed.
Yeah, it is way different. But I grew up there, and then I went to Central College where I got my bachelor's in health and exercise science. I met this one while at Central. Growing up, I was a swimmer and a diver. And then when I went to Central, they didn't have a pool, obviously. So I
Still don't.
no,
No? Okay.
they don't.
Okay.
So I decided to become a cheerleader.
Okay.
I don't
Love
know.
it.
It's kind of random.
Yeah.
They needed someone, and I was like, I guess I can try. I don't know. And of course,
love
the
it.
dangling carrot was you can go to Daytona. So I was like, okay,
Sold,
all right,
done.
I'll do that.
Yep.
So I was a cheerleader. Definitely was not your peppy one. I was just there for the muscle. That was really
Yep.
all I was.
Definitely
there
had the
for.
Which
sass,
a lot
though.
of them,
Yes.
sass
Yes.
come, you come
For
with a little
sure.
sass, which a lot of cheerleaders aren't there for the muscle. Usually it's the opposite.
Yeah.
So,
No, I was not your
yeah,
peppy
you-
person.
Yep. I love it.
Especially at like 5 a.m.
Right.
No way.
Right.
So I was a cheerleader, and then I didn't cheer my senior year because at that point I was really trying to focus on getting into school, where I wanted to go, different things like that. I always knew I wanted to be a chiropractor since I was like 11 years old. So for me, that was just kind of natural as to where I was going to go after college. And I moved down to St. Louis after I graduated. We did long distance for a year, and then he moved down to St. Louis once he graduated. And then I finished school, moved back to Des Moines. I worked downtown for the last year and a half, and then decided to just go out on my own.
Yes. Love it. Well,
yeah.
congratulations. That's
Thank
huge.
you.
I know that was a big step for you guys. So that's awesome.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
how many people were in your class in Grimes?
In Grimes, okay.
I'd just be interested to know what it's like now versus like when you
Yeah,
were there.
so I actually went to Johnston. Where I lived
Okay.
was Johnston School District. So I went to Johnston until my sophomore year. And then my junior and senior is when I transferred to Grimes.
Yep.
So at Johnston, gosh, well over 600
Mhm.
when I
was
went
gonna say,
there.
it's probably always been pretty big.
Yeah. Oh,
Johnston
yeah.
is. Right.
And then Grimes was, I think I graduated with like 134 or
Okay,
something.
yeah.
So even that was like a culture shock for me,
Right.
going from Johnston to Grimes.
Yeah.
And even having like their middle school attached to each other was just
Right,
weird
super
to
weird.
me.
Yeah. 'Cause
So
when people are like Zach said he has 20 in his class or 16,
No
I just
way.
can't even fathom. Like it's just, and I didn't come from a big city by any
Yeah.
means, but 16 people in my class would be like, what
I
the-
just can't imagine being in the same school
Yeah.
with every single person all throughout high school and even like
That'd be
elementary.
crazy, yeah.
I don't know. We were just talking about this the other day. Like the fun part was getting to see what class you had and like what other students were in it that you didn't necessarily know. Like you knew of them, but you didn't know
Right.
them. And I think
Yeah.
that was like the most fun part.
Yeah.
I think that was the best part of going from like elementary to middle school to high school too, was now you're with another, like everyone's
School.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know
Because
what I
you
mean?
have new people coming
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. But I'm sure the small school kids don't want to be a part of the big school
Oh yeah.
stuff
Right.
either.
I don't know.
Exactly.
How do you feel?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was huge because I went from not as small as Zach, but I had 32 kids in my class, and
Really? Okay.
and they like we were the elementary, middle school, and high school were all attached by one big hallway. They're just separated by doors, and then so you knew everybody in every grade going up, like in front of you, behind you, everybody. And then I went to Ames, and I was like, where am I at? This place is like a jungle. Because, like, you had one class all the way down here. The other class was up 2 floors and on the other side of the building. And then you saw somebody new every day. It was,
crazy.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was crazy. But the thing is, I don't know, why is there, it just is crazy how many, like, elementary schools there are. And then they all filter into, like, one high school.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like, what
Yeah.
the heck?
There's so many elementary schools. Yeah, that's true. I don't know.
it's nuts.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
So you said that you at age 11 knew you wanted to be a chiropractor. That's probably not typical for most people. Why?
No.
Go into what made you want to be a chiropractor.
Yeah. Growing up, I actually wanted to be a pediatrician. I always loved kids, or a teacher. I loved kids. I don't know. I was like obsessed with them when I was younger. Like, you know, you always want to be a parent, you know, this and that.
Yeah.
And then I was 11 and I got a brain injury, and our health, but it was both me and my sister, and our health just kept deteriorating and got to a point where like my parents didn't really know what to do. Doctors were kind of like, well, they're too sick to like be in the hospital. My sister's allergic to a lot of things. And so for her, like there wasn't anything that they could give her. And it just got to a point where they were like, I mean, kind of prepare for the worst, be ready for like funerals and, you know, everything like that. And my mom, very, very persistent, you know, you don't ever mess with a mama bear.
Right. Exactly.
So she did so much research. She also would just like sit in bed and pray, just kind of trying to figure out what was going on with us. And I had been to multiple chiropractors before, and the one chiropractor that we were with, he was just kind of honest with us. I mean, I was going 2, sometimes 3 times a day because I had issues with like my rib cage. And finally he was just like, I can keep doing this. However, I'm just really worried about what this could do to her in the future. And I just don't know what else I can do. So my mom was like, okay, you know, like I appreciate you being honest. And she met a chiropractor at a chamber event. And she was kind of talking to him, and he was like, yeah, I can help him. Like, come see me. And so we went in, and he just started adjusting us. And to be honest, like that was so long ago. And through everything that happens in your life, you kind of tend to forget the things that were really traumatic. And so I don't even remember a lot of it, but I just remember like his persistence on our care. And I mean, he was not above calling me a little asshole when I was younger. And he eventually got both me and my sister back to like where we were. We did a lot of holistic medicine as well, just to kind of get all of the toxicity out of our bodies and like really heal us. And by the end of it, I mean, we still had a brain injury, so we still had like inflammation in our brain. I had a learning disability, everything like that. And through it, it was just like, can you kind of identify it as it for a little bit? And then finally it just came to a point where I was like, no, like I don't have this. I can learn
Absolutely.
fine.
Yes.
And that chiropractor is actually now who I'm working with now. So that was my childhood
That
chiropractor.
is
And
so
he,
cool. That all evolved.
yeah, he's really like the person who's always been in the back of my mind. I don't know if he knows this. Shout out Dr. Brett. But like anytime I had a patient who was just difficult, or even in school, it was like in the back of my head, what would Dr. Brett do? And, you know, I just like kind of put his game face on, and that's how I
That's
just
amazing.
led my life through school and through my first
So
year and a
cool.
half of practice. So,
Yep. And
yeah.
so he stayed around here, obviously,
Yeah.
that whole time, too. So
Yep.
he's always been around the Des Moines area.
Oh, yeah.
That is such a cool story. And I get goosebumps every time you say it. Because, like, just knowing you, like, in that part of your life, you would never think that. Like, I would never think that you went through something so traumatic. And that's the thing, is we don't know people's past, right?
Yeah.
And what they've been through. And so it's just really cool hearing that story, because it molded you into where you are today and who you are. And
Yeah.
so he's pretty much saved your guys' life. You know what I mean? And
Yeah. I owe a
to
lot
follow
to
in his
him.
footsteps, and that even makes you more passionate about what you do, because you know that chiropractic care can change people's lives and
yeah.
help them for the better.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're living proof of that. So
So then
So
also, we haven't mentioned yet, but you went into your own practice. But do your elevator pitch, your
gosh.
for your business.
I wasn't
or, you know,
prepared for this.
right? Just so everybody knows where to find you.
Yeah. So
Everybody at Krave already does. but-
Yeah. So I am located in a group. It's called Delta Health. It's over in Clive off of University, right behind. I always say the Other Place restaurant, but I know now living here in Des Moines, it's called the OP. So I apologize. Yeah. Yeah.
I'd say the other place.
yeah, the OP is what a lot of people call
Yeah,
it.
I
think
don't
we're not from
know.
here, so we call it the other place.
Okay.
But most people do.
I've started
Yep.
learning. They're like,
Yes.
you mean the OP? I'm like,
Sure.
so sorry. It clearly was gone for too long.
That's funny.
So it's down in there. There's like a whole, medical district down there. So we're down there. There is a group of us. There's 4 chiropractors, massage therapists, functional medicine. We all have our own like little specialties. So I focus on pediatrics, pregnancy, and athletes. And then the other chiropractors have like their own specialties as well. And then I also do acupuncture also.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
yeah.
And it's cool how you can now get your fix of like the kids part of it, right?
Yeah.
And so Lydia just adjusted Pierce and Porter and Ivy, all of them at the gym the other day, and it was really cool to watch that, because I think as a parent, not knowing a lot about chiropractic care, like you're a little bit nervous. You're like, oh, like you're just gonna go in there and just go to my kid, like, and scar them for life. Obviously, you don't do that.
Yeah.
And the way you adjusted them was really cool, and like they were just playing, and they had no idea. That they were even getting adjusted. But one thing we want to keep moving forward with is just Pierce and, having Down syndrome and stuff, and just figuring out his bowel issues and just some of the issues that are more complex in kids with Down syndrome. And so I'm super excited about that. But yeah, so you specialize in, you said, pregnancy, which is what's like filled you up so far? Like, what are you just like, do you have one that you're more passionate about than the others, or are they all, you kind of like it all, obviously? But...
To be honest, I didn't really care. In this, I say this like in a nice way. I didn't really care for women and kids when I was going through school. So like I wanted to be a pediatrician. Because I loved kids. And then as I was growing up, like I was like, I don't know, do I really love kids? Do I want kids? I became more independent and formed into who I was as an adult. And I just feel like the stereotypical, like, oh, you're a female, so of course you're going to do kids and women. And I was just like, no, screw you. Like, I'm going to do what the heck I want to do. And then it was through just like learning all of these different things about the way birth is viewed in America is really kind of what got my passion going, because even I fall victim to this too. When I like look at kids, I'm like, oh, like a little 2-year-old, life's so rough. Like I wish I was 2. And then I started learning things. I'm like, well, yeah, it is really hard to be 2.
Right. Because
like
your emotions,
we just don't
and your
think
mental,
about it.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it was just through like how we view society, how we view kids, how we view pregnant women. And I know women are becoming more superior now, which is awesome. Sorry, men. But like that just really empowers me, because
Absolutely.
I just think we need more education. And so that's really kind of where it started me, and just thinking all of these people are running to do all of these different like medications and everything else. And well, my doctor said I can't move and I need to put my feet up. And it's like, no, like what's best for you is movement, is getting out, doing these things. So I just want to be that person of education. And so that's really kind of what drove me. I
And
still
you
love
learned that through different like years in school, and so you got to those chapters and you're just like, this is it, like I found what I'm super passionate about. And what
I mean, even when I graduated, I still wasn't 100% sure. And it was through the first practice that I was in. They specialized in pediatrics and pregnancy. And so that's kind of where it was like, not that you had to be forced into it, but you're like, okay, I'm in this position where I am the doctor here, so I have to know this if someone asks me a question. And through that, I just like got stuck down all these different rabbit holes.
And educated yourself, because that's ultimately what you need to do. Is you need to become more educated, because people are going to have questions, and you're going to want to give the best care. And
I think that's the best. Doctor, coach, all of those things. I think that ultimately is a sign of some of the best coaches, some of the best doctors, and some of the people that realize and can admit, like, okay, this I don't know enough about to talk to you about it today. Let me dive in, research this for the next month, and I'll find an answer for you, you know, because you care for your patients. And so I think that like ultimately, and from my point of view as a coach, I love to be like, that's a problem I haven't seen before. You know, if we're working with nutrition or whatever, this is a situation I haven't been in. Let's find out the answer. And that's it sounds like you're kind of in that same boat, and then you found all of those answers, and now you're become an expert in those things. So
for sure.
That's awesome.
Okay, so let's get to some questions, then we'll come back. I think we got some good ones on here. Did you get any on yours?
I did.
Some social questions.
Some social questions.
All right.
I don't know if it's on that one. Nope.
We need to get back to we used to do with every guest. We used to do fuck, marry, kill, and we would have some random 3 things that we put together because of that guest. So we need to do that again.
We should do that. Should we start with you?
Oh gosh. Oh my gosh.
Yes, please. I'm interested.
Oh,
Yeah.
Of course.
Okay, we won't do that. The next guest. Now we're not gonna have any more guests because of like. Okay, so here's a good question: is it bad to be addicted to the pop? I crack my back constantly.
Yes. I always tell this to people who, even if they've been to a chiropractor before, if they've never been, I always say, don't get addicted to the crack. Mainly because all it is gas being released from the joint. So it's not actually, that's not what is changing within your body. It's just gas that's being released. So actually you want to get to a point where you're not popping as much and you're only having to adjust a certain area or put motion into a restricted joint in one place. That makes a greater difference.
Right.
So if you have a lot of popping, a lot of it is muscle tension, is just putting a lot of pressure on those joints. And that can create that popping. And the difference between like when I adjust someone and say Daniel was adjusting his neck is he's just adjusting anything. So a lot of times the popping comes from hypermobile joints, so joints that have too much motion in them, whereas I'm finding the joint that actually doesn't have restriction in it and I'm adjusting that area. Now you might get like a lot of pops with it just because I'm moving a joint, and where one joint goes, the next joint tends to follow if it's also restricted. But that's the difference between the two. So you're not actually getting the area that is creating the restriction. You're putting motion into a joint that doesn't need it, which then you could create some strain in those joint capsules or the ligaments or things like that.
But it's interesting because most people that do the pops, they don't really feel pain, right? Or like... But down the road, potentially, they could.
Yeah, so pain is the last thing to show up in a lot of cases. And it's because your body is built to adapt and change and hold itself together. I always tell people, like, your muscles are like, holy shit, dude, don't move. But then your muscles fatigue, right? Like, I can't take a dumbbell and hold it out here forever. At some point, it's going to start to drop because my muscles are getting fatigued. And that's what happens in your body. And then that's when you get pain or you... bend forward, and I always say that's the straw that broke the camel's back because you pick up a pen and all of a sudden you're back.
Right, and people think it's picking up the pen part, but it's really the pressure and
the repetitive motion.
I had that exact same thing.
your lower
blew
back.
my back out, like moving an empty box. So like the weight of a cardboard box, I was bending over and moving. And obviously there were a bunch of issues prior to that led to that. But then I locked up and I was in the basement for 8
For
hours.
a long time.
Oof.
Yeah, that
it
was
terrible.
brutal.
Went to the ER
Brutal.
and everything.
Well, and I think that would, to me, I'm just speaking on behalf of a chiropractor, but like I think it would frustrate me when people wait, like they don't do the preventative care, right? And I'm guilty of this. I won't go to the chiropractor. Now that we have one, I'm definitely more open to going to one. But until I had pain, I wouldn't go see one, right? Or like I'm bad with the dentist. Like until I have a cavity, I don't go to the dentist. You know, and it's all about that preventative
or even
care.
if you have a cavity, you don't.
Uh-oh.
Until you need a root canal, then you still don't go to the dentist. And
No, then I do
you
because
get
that shit
pulled,
hurts.
and that's what you need.
Yeah,
That's
here
when
we
you go
are.
to the
So that's
dentist.
where we are today. But no, so I would say that would probably be frustrating is like the preventative care that people don't do until it's too late, and you're like, well, you probably could have helped this.
Yeah.
a
I mean,
while
you get
back,
a lot of different things. You get people who understand it, and those are like your best people. You're like, oh,
Absolutely.
I love you.
Yes.
And then you get people who are like, well, I just only want to come to you when I'm in pain. And for me, I've kind of learned like if you pressure people, it tends to leave a bad taste in their mouth. I hate when people pressure me.
Yep.
I want to be able to make a decision on my own. And so those are the people that I always say, okay, like I respect you. I'm going to give you all the education that I can, that you need. What you do with it is your doing.
Decision, right.
And at the end of the day, I'm here to serve you. I'm here to love you. I'm here to do whatever you need, and I'll be here when you come back.
Yep.
Because I guarantee
And
you'll
you see
be
him walking,
back.
you're like,
Right.
motherfucker, I told you.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. And you do also have those people who, gosh, they come in and they're like, oh, well, I just heard when you start going to a chiropractor, you can't stop. And it's like just that stigma that's related to chiropractic care and like the value that you place on it, right? Like a gym is a value. Either you value it, you kind of do, or you just don't. And I mean, it's the same with chiropractic.
Yep.
You either
And I was
value
gonna
it or
relate
not.
Absolutely.
In the gym as well, you know, you get the people that are like, oh, I let myself go for the last 6 months. I'm 15 pounds overweight. Okay, I'm gonna get into the gym, hit it hard.
Lose
They
15
lose
pounds
15
and then they quit.
and then they quit, and then the cycle just continues, and it's probably very similar to chiropractic in that way.
For sure.
And Google. People Google stuff all the time, and we're like, no, like that is not. And it does get frustrating, but that's just the careers we're in, right?
It
It's like-
is.
And you don't blame people though, because people want to read the easy things or just read something.
They want a
and
quick
believe
fix.
It. Yes,
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
they want a quick
and so
fix.
It's on us to educate them and as best as we can, like you said. Okay, so why are you replacing Zach? He's my favorite member of the gym closet team.
Oh, I am so sorry, Zach.
That was Zach that wrote that, wasn't it?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm going to leave it anonymous, so I cannot say who said that.
Yeah,
But-
I'll admit it's
but-
big shoes to fill.
I mean,
And
Zach is great, but like you
we
don't know
won't-
me.
There you go. I love it. I love the confidence. But yeah, we won't have that issue in another week, Zach. So we'll just have 5 seats, but we will have to eventually share a mic. I think we're limited with our equipment
Perfect.
for 4
Well,
mics.
Dan and Zach can share a mic.
Yep.
No. 'Cause
Oh,
just-
cute.
I said that because Lydia sat down. She's like, "You're not very close to me," and he's like, "Well, Zach and me are like so close to each other all the time."
The true test of your bigger space is going to be, can you all wide leg it and
Right.
be
Oh,
okay?
Okay.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so we had one athlete say that you're good stuff.
Oh,
So yes, and this is my fault. I posted it probably too late. I should have posted a couple days
Well,
earlier. So-
for my testimonial
Yes,
too.
absolutely, and
we had so I've been to multiple chiropractors, and so she had talked about what her specialty is and pregnancy and that type of stuff is one thing. The second part was the athlete, and that's one thing that I think, and you can probably speak on this as well. I would have this same qualms or hesitations for a female chiropractic, that they may not be able to put the force into what needs to be done for my body being a bigger guy. Dan can probably say this as well, being a bigger guy. Lydia can. So,
Yes.
So that's definitely she did an awesome video on social that kind of showed the difference of soft infant and young toddler type of adjustments, and then athlete adjustments. And so when she not many people can adjust me even as well as she can, that I've found out here recently, because my hips are super tight. My range of motion is difficult to, I think, get the chiropractor to get in good position, but she's like jumping up and like getting in the right position and making sure that her angles are correct. And I think that with me has been historically what hinders chiropractic care for doing the right thing, and it might take 2-3 tries and some of those adjustments won't work. Not with Lydia. So that's just with my review, and I've talked to several people that ask that question. Hey, I'm a bigger guy. I probably want to look for a bigger dude, chiropractic, and so that's something that I can kind of speak to.
Sure.
That's
Right.
not
it's
the
quick,
case,
but it's powerful. It's
but do you kind of do you see that stigma every once in a while with women that are chiropractic care?
Yeah, for sure. First off, let me do my little hair flip.
Anyways,
Anyways.
when she gets going, Dan's like, I'm so hungry.
Next.
No,
question.
I literally had this conversation. I had 2 conversations today. The first one was with a male patient, and he was like, I get questioned, like, why would you go see a female? And there are so many men, again, and this is not to be offensive to men, because, again, my chiropractor was a male. I love going to a male chiropractor. But sometimes they get this ego where they need to show their strength. They need to do a lot of pressure. And sometimes that's not always better. You can actually do some damage as well. And he was like, I just explained to them that he had a male chiropractor who would just like whip his neck. And he was like, I didn't really like it. I didn't know it was coming. I didn't know the purpose. Like, why are you adjusting this? Whereas me, like when I'm adjusting you, I'm like telling you what I find. I will typically be like, ooh, yeah, you're really stuck right here. Have you been having headaches? Like, I'm trying to educate them as I'm going through the adjustment so they understand this is why I need this versus I'm just getting racked and cracked.
Right, I don't know.
That's just not always fun.
Yes.
And he was like, and when I first did the adjustment, he was like, I do not want to do a manual adjustment. Like, do you have another way of adjusting? And I was like, yep, absolutely. And I did it. And he was like, I didn't. He was like, I mean, I felt a little bit different. And I was like, okay, then like, would you trust me to do this manual adjustment? And he was like, yeah, I trust you. And so I did it. And he was like, like you just know the force that you need. I can feel you and say what force I need.
Absolutely.
So the force that I put into you is different than what I do in Tyler.
Absolutely.
And it's just based off of, okay, what's our muscle density? Like, how stuck are you? And a lot of times I might do like a little trick shot just to kind of get you to relax, because a lot of times we do have that just nervousness. And that was the other conversation I had, was I was getting adjusted. And I blocked him. I sure did. And he was like, oh, you knew I was coming? And I'm like, I did. And it's just because I've had a few times, like going through school and even where I was previously, where you just had someone who just got you. And I mean, it hurts and it takes your breath away. And you have to like give yourself a second, like, okay, let me breathe. And every now and then I will have that moment where I just like freeze, because I'm like, I don't know, I'm nervous.
That's interesting.
Sure.
Right.
Like, I know that I'm super tight in this area because I know my body. I'm really in tune with it. And we did arms yesterday, so I was really tight between my shoulder blades and it was kind of tender.
Right.
And so I just blocked him because I just knew that it was happening. And it's just one of those things where you have to know the person. I have a lot of people who block me, and I just learn their bodies, so then I trick them and they're like, ooh, you got me good. And it's like, yeah, because you start to learn this.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think it's just a stigma that you have to go over. I always joke, like, I'll throw some elbows. And I mean, I'm short, but I'll WWE slam you any
right.
day of the week. So I don't know. I think it's just also
wouldn't wanna mess
confidence.
with you.
Yeah.
I would not want. I know a
Yeah.
lot of women at the gym would not want to mess with Lydia. That's
It's
for
just
sure.
a confidence. Like if you
Yeah.
know if you know that you are a great adjuster, you know what you're doing, you're confident in what you. I mean, just even in yourself. Like you don't have to be confident in here because there's some days where I'm like, what am I doing? Am I doing this right?
Right. To each their own. No, that's everybody. So that's.
But you just
yes.
act it and you just wear
Yep,
it and like no one ever knows that like deep down most of the time I'm like literally sweating because I'm like, am I doing this? I don't know.
Yep,
I mean,
yep.
it's just the way that you hold
Yeah.
yourself and
Yeah.
present yourself.
Absolutely.
I think that,
So-
like for me, the biggest thing was like the angles that you'll get to yourself and physically. Like if you've ever been Taekwondo, Tiger Rock is a partner of ours, and so we studied Taekwondo for a while. Everything about Taekwondo and force is like joint angles and like adjusting to make sure that you have same with all of our striking. So all of our striking is based on this. So if you're hitting the bag with an angle out here versus inside angle, aligning your joints and doing things at the right angle, your force is completely different from one to the other. And that's one of the biggest things I think that I saw that you had versus some chiropractors that I've had in the past is that angle gets to the force in the right direction and gets everything that I personally need. Which
And another thing that I was going to bring up is talk about the adjustments. So you're saying manual adjustments. So people that haven't been to a chiropractor, like I'm a little bit knowledgeable in this just because the chiropractor we had before you did like the gun or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
So is that what you mean by either a manual adjustment or I don't even know what that thing's called?
Yeah.
Or you guys probably use it too if somebody doesn't want to be manually adjusted.
Yep. I have a bunch of techniques that I typically use. So manual would be just like with my hands.
Yep.
Using a tool, it's called an activator. I typically just call it sounds like a stapler. So sometimes I'm like, it sounds like a stapler, but I promise I'm not stapling you. But it's an activator. It's a tool. That has, there's so much research on it. It just has what you can change the tension in it. So you're getting the same velocity regardless of what level you have it on. So you can still get an adjustment. It's a little bit more specific as well. And then also my school is founded on Logan Basic, which is using a ligament within your glute that's a little bit deeper. So that targets like your parasympathetic nervous system. So like being able to sleep, digest your food, relax, calm down from just all the chaos in the world.
Distractions.
Yeah. And so I use that a lot on pregnant women and babies. But then if I have someone who's just like overstimulated in just everything that you talk to them about is just like height, a lot of times I'll do this technique on them as well.
Right.
And there are some, so like with Pierce, I did this on Pierce because you're not doing a manual adjustment on him.
No.
He is just built completely different than other people. So with anyone who has certain illnesses or disabilities or anything like that, sometimes I'll use this
really
technique
cool.
as well because it just takes some pressure off.
Yeah.
And with the angles, I mean, a lot of times people say this about women as well. I mean, we're just agile. I mean, we're a little bit more flexible. We can get into weird positions and do all of this. Where when you have big burly men, sometimes they
hard.
big hands. They like
That front
can't.
squat to a press.
Yeah.
well, I know my range of motion and stuff is terrible, and I know having bigger muscles limits which it shouldn't, but I also don't stretch as much as I should. So all of that kind of stuff is interesting.
Well, this is awesome, and thank you for your time.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell us again? So what you're taking on new clients, obviously, and wait, I just want to throw in a little side thing. So you guys are so inspiring to us. Dan, when you first started, like we knew right away you're going to be an awesome coach, and you are. And so Dan had approached us a while ago and asked for more hours, and we did what we could to provide him with more hours, and because we want him a part of the team. And at that same time, you had been talking about leaving where you were, the safety, right? That safety net that you had of like, okay, we're here, we're comfortable. But then you guys wanted more for yourselves, and you're young, and you just followed both of your dreams of like doing something for yourselves, and it's really, really cool that you guys do that, and I wish you the best on your own. Like, it's amazing, and I'm very proud of both of you, so it's really cool to see that, and I think that you both are happy where you're at, even if it is a lot of learning and adjusting and all those things, but that comes with growth. And that helps you guys grow when you get uncomfortable, because sometimes you stay comfortable for too long, and it doesn't lead you to other things. So really, really cool. But why don't you tell me where they can find you and what kind of clients you're taking on? So get a little bit more specific on like the prenatal stuff if you want, and the kids and everything like that, and we'll like attach your business information so if people want to reach out and stuff that they can. So
so I'm at Delta Health. You can just call and just say Dr. Lydia.
Okay.
I really see anyone. I specialize in pediatrics and pregnancy and athletes, but like really I'm open to seeing anyone that I can help, really. As far as prenatal, gosh, the best time is really anytime. I even say like preconception, when you're finally like open to the idea of getting pregnant. Are you on birth control? What's your diet look like? There's a lot of stuff that goes into it that I don't think people really understand. I'm working a lot with like infertility and then even fertility in general, getting women off of birth control. What does that look like? What does my nutrition look like? Now that I'm pregnant, what do I need to eat? Because a lot of the standards that they have out there for pregnant women is actually not correct. And they don't realize that things have changed, but also we need to not eat for two as well.
Right. I saw your post. Yes. You don't
so
need to do that.
it's just a lot of
really the caloric intake doesn't need to be that much higher.
No.
The first 2 trimesters and the third one, it's
absolutely
bit,
not.
So, but it's interesting because people don't think that. There's also this, well, I'm pregnant, so I can eat whatever I want. But it's like you don't want to do that to yourself either. So
I mean, it's a fine line. I mean, even with like women in their menstrual cycles, I mean, there are certain times where you do actually need to eat more throughout your menstrual cycle. And then training people with workouts is another thing that I'm doing as well, because women need to work in unison with their menstrual cycle versus against it. And I've done a crap ton of research into like how that should be a vital sign of women, like and it sounds gross, sorry guys, but you know, like we're females, it's what happens.
And it is hard. It's like a lot of people are on their start their period and like they can't work out because it knocks you on your butt. And that's why people get on birth control. And I wish we could have like recorded this conversation at our house. So we were literally up talking about this, and I was like so into it until like 3:30 in the morning. I'm like, we should but we had some good conversation, and it was so interesting. But if you see the right person and you have these conversations, like it does help make a lot of sense about things too.
Yeah, absolutely. So I went on a tangent. Really,
I love it.
Really anyone. Really anyone. Gosh, my dream, and I'm nowhere near this. Like I'm still very, very little in this huge pond or even this huge ocean, really. My goal is to be that person. I never want to keep a patient that I don't think I can help. I've always been this person. I didn't get into chiropractic for money. I didn't get into any of this for money. I did it more for my passion. So I want to be that person where if you come to me and you bring your child and there's just something serious going on, I want to be that person that I can say, you need to go see this person or you need to go to that person. I want to educate people on birth and how it is viewed in America. I had a question on one of my Instagrams that was like, you don't even have kids, so how do you even know? And it's like, in a world full of opinions and opinions that don't freaking matter. Gosh, we get so many opinions even about our wedding. In a world of opinions, I want to be the person that gives you education. You can talk to anyone and they can, oh, birth is terrible, get the epidural, do this. That's fine. Which is fine. It's totally fine.
But I don't look at you like you can't have an opinion or educate me on what you know what I mean?
But at the same time, like that's your opinion because based off of like what you went through. And so it's just different of like, I want to be that outside person of I'm not going to give you an opinion. I'm going to tell you, birth is not going to be comfortable.
Yes.
However, let's talk about some other things. Like, do you have a doula? Do you have a midwife?
Are made to do that.
Yeah. Are you birthing on your back?
Now you want me to have another kid just to do it?
Okay.
To see if I can do it. No, I'm just kidding.
I got you. Tyler's like, oh, buddy. But I mean, that's my ultimate goal. And I would just love to be at someone's live birth. I just think it would be such an honor and so cool to work aside like a doula, a midwife, and because chiropractic plays a huge role even in the birthing process. Like your body, your pelvis is shifting as the baby's dropping down.
And those babies too, what they go through and all that.
Oh, for sure. I mean, if you've never looked at a birthing video or watched it, you should go find one and then come ask me why a child needs adjusted.
Right.
And you can adjust the baby right after birth, right?
Yeah. I've adjusted, the earliest that I've adjusted was,
That's so interesting.
gosh, under a day. Because they came home, they stopped at the clinic on their way home from the hospital, and they got released the next day, like within
awesome.
12 hours. So, I mean, they just go through a lot of trauma. And so I think a lot of people don't understand that either. Again, they just think, oh, you're a baby, you're pliable. Like,
Right.
well, they're pliable
Still.
to a certain point.
Exactly.
But,
No,
so
it's very
really,
interesting.
anyone.
The conversations we had were really good.
Yeah.
And it's, I mean, I just never had talked to anyone like that, and thinking about it, I'm like, maybe there's some things that maybe I would have tried harder to like not get the epidural, but I've just always been one that's like that.
Yeah.
And I think, like you said, it's like people are like that. There's people out there that are the all natural kind,
Yeah.
which is awesome. Support them, love them. There's people that choose not to, and that's okay too. You know, it's like there's just so many biases and so many people like out to get each other, and like. And you can still have a very, very well educated opinion without having kids. Like that's I don't even understand that. But
I just
you
say.
just now a whole other segment we'll be talking about the wedding, but I do
Yeah.
not think that we have time for that. But
No.
they are getting married in October. Bachelor parties coming up soon. So
Yep.
Ozarks and Nashville. So I
Yeah.
wish you guys the best with that. I wish your liver's the best.
Woof.
I know. You guys are
Gosh.
gonna have fun. The wedding's gonna be a blast. We're super excited. So
Yeah.
It'll be here before you
yeah,
know it.
it will. I
How many
know.
days?
What, 74?
Oh, you listen.
Wow.
Good.
What do you mean I listen?
Do you guys
told
have a
you this
timer
morning.
set
You
or
just
what?
remembered.
Yeah.
You told me yesterday.
Yes.
Yeah, I told you yesterday.
You said it's
Yep.
subtract one. You're on top.
Yeah.
No, but awesome. So thank you for being on.
Yeah,
this. Thank
absolutely.
you so
Thanks for
much.
having
And
me.
if you guys are needing a new chiropractor, check her out. She's awesome. So
Appreciate it.
yes.
Definitely, and thank you guys all for watching or listening. The next episode next week will be in a new location. So
You're very confident about this, and it's just making me a little bit nervous.
Why?
But we got this. We've got this. Because you
we
know
have to
how
move.
our lives
We have
work.
to move chairs.
Okay. It's all you.
I got it.
Okay.
I got it. It will be. It's already all ready to just be plugged in and chairs put in front of the TV. That'll be a cool part too. Well, you'll see it next week. So set your alarms for that. This will be up. What is it? Tuesday. So this will be up here in the next couple days as well. And so anything else that we got coming up, Krave wise?
We should talk about the championship or the summer classic.
Let's do it.
All right.
Damn it, you guys!
I'm fine.
hungry.
No, I'm fine.
Just real quick, we'll talk about that. But I didn't get to go because the kids were sick, or Porter was. But you were there, obviously, at a booth there. Dan was there coaching, and you were coaching. So I did have lunch with Kim, and she said that some things got messed up on the hurdle jumps or something, and that one of the athletes was a little bit mad.
Yeah, I think. There was just some
no, I just
communicating
have this,
10 versus
or
20
yeah.
or whatever.
No, but I heard it was awesome. They had so much fun. The vendors were great. The feel of being on that field was awesome.
Yeah.
Like that lake was really cool. When I saw the pictures, like even when I went down there to look at it to see where like the vendors should set up, I'm like, holy shit! Like this is a high school field.
Yeah,
It was mind blowing.
Yeah.
That's what we were saying. How
Like-
disappointing would it be to go to that high school
And then go to
play
a,
that
like a
football,
D3
and go
college
to
that
a
doesn't have,
small
or even
college that
some of these
doesn't have shit.
D1s or D2s don't even have
Yeah.
that nice of a facility.
Yeah.
I was
it's
jealous
crazy.
being a vendor and not an athlete.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm like,
That's
do you
true.
need me? Do you need another athlete?
And then some of the athletes were like, I thought we were just going to go like have fun and like hang out. I didn't think we were like competing. I'm like, oh no, we were competing.
Oh yeah. No.
So yeah, we had the 1 mile run, an agility.
We had the what do we call it? Rabbit challenge.
Rabbit challenge.
challenge, and then we had the 666 challenge that everybody's done with the front squat, the 6 reps of each. We started with that with the guys and the gals started with the rabbit challenge, and then we all did the mile together. but it was a great turnout.
Waukee
West Des Moines-
came
I was gonna say
through.
West Des
Yeah.
Moines was a little disappointing. We did get the
Which is
the
very
guys'
surprising because
victory,
usually it's
but-
the other way.
right.
We were harping on West Des Moines though. I'm like, or Waukee. I'm like, you guys have got to be there.
See,
so.
and I thought we were doing the same thing.
It's
but
hard.
I think,
Summers are
I think
hard.
that the
Weekends on the
travel,
summer
I think
and-
people thought that it was farther away, or it had a bad connotation that it was all the way out there.
So that's why you guys
all the
always
way
have the
out
home
there.
court advantage over here. That shit's not fair. See,
Right.
see
But
what
I mean,
happens.
that's what I was telling people. We did the same, pretty much the exact same event the year prior. 2020, was it 2021 or was it 2019? I can't even remember now. It was before or after.
I feel like COVID just fucked
Yeah,
everything.
COVID. But anyway, so we did the same event, but it had to be 2021 because in 2019 we would have just opened Waukee,
All right.
so that would have been
Yeah.
like nobody from Waukee.
That's funny because they asked at Waukee, they're like, well, is this even a fair thing? Because how many athletes do they have over there? They've been open way longer than
It's the
we have
exact
over
same.
here. I'm like,
It's the
guys,
exact
we've
same.
been growing over here. Like,
Yeah.
so they're like, oh. But before it was always like,
It's
well,
like,
we only
don't
have 100
yeah,
athletes
yep.
and they have like this many. So it's not even fair. So we're not going to go. I'm like, just stop.
But it doesn't matter unless you show up.
Exactly.
Like
Right.
you could have the same
Exactly.
amount, like
Yes.
5 people
Well,
from
and
each
that's the thing,
side.
like
Yeah.
we had 4 West Des Moines athletes even show up out of 25, and Justin won
Yep,
for the guys.
which is awesome.
So I
Mhm.
mean that got a bunch of points for West Des Moines. It's tough to win with only one or two guys there though. So
I know.
Waukee ended up winning the clash for the men, and then Sammy won again. She won the Winter Classic, but she won again. But she transferred to Waukee, so now she counts as a Waukee athlete instead of a West Des
She
Moines
sure
athlete.
does.
So
Although I don't know.
I don't
why.
know.
I'm like
I
so in
really
the middle.
think we
Like I
kind
do
of
love
should.
West Des Moines too. Like this is just a hard spot to be in. Like
yeah,
they're both my babies. You
that's
know.
true.
But I'm just over there more, so I guess I'm just pulled over.
Yeah. No, but I just think that that's pretty much a win for West Des Moines because both of those athletes
Okay.
have trained at West Des Moines longer.
Right.
than
A
they've trained at-
majority of her training was done here.
Yep.
Doesn't matter.
It was. So
A win's a win. People
that's
don't
true.
look at the past. I mean,
No, but congratulations to everybody that competed. Thank you guys. It was an awesome event. Vendors were awesome. Thanks for everyone that showed up.
I heard the
that
food was
didn't
good.
necessarily compete
So
either. We had probably.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I think we had like 20.
the smart ones.
25
Right? The smart ones that wear their non-gym
23
clothes.
yeah.
So they-
20 we had like 25 athletes that competed. Then we had probably another 20 that came
So fun.
that just came for the vendors and to
Mhm.
hang out and have a good time. So that is, we had about 50 plus people there. That was awesome turnout. We will that was my goal. My goal was if we can get 50 people there, then we can kind of work on it next year to be a bigger event, and do a little bit more to have more of a
Right.
I don't know, what do you call it, a event outside of the competition, but we had a bunch of kids that were there playing together, and it was a
Yeah, that's
cool
awesome.
time. So
Yeah.
I need to give a shout out. I'm trying to find it. The Waukee. What was it? What is it
Community.
called? The Waukee Community Schools Foundation.
Yep.
So shout out to them because they were they got us into the track,
Yeah.
which was really nice because I was trying to get it, and then we were going back and forth on like some pricing stuff and everything, and then one of the athletes is on that foundation, and so she's like, I can get you guys in. So huge shout out to Adrian for that because that was really, really cool.
yeah, and that's the thing is that, if you do it in a scenario like that, and obviously it's a benefit to the school and a benefit to Krave and then all the vendors and everything. But the
Yeah.
big thing I'd like to create is get like Lydia, someone that all of our athletes, all of the vendors were either partners of ours or athletes at Krave, and so to get eyeballs on their businesses and to make an event around that's kind of the ultimate goal, and just to have a good time and have a competition part of it is kind of the ultimate goal, so that and then the Winter Classic, that hopefully will have enough people that we can find like a gym indoor facility to do that at. But those are two things, that those two events are hopefully can continue to grow. I'd love to get double next
Right.
year is kind of my goal.
Because we had
for
some
those.
athletes that weren't Krave athletes that came and participated, right? It's like some of Sammy's friends and
Yep.
stuff, so
Yeah.
they kind of have their own bracket,
Mm-hmm.
which
Yeah.
is a lot of fun. I'm like, you guys, you better not let these non-athletes beat us. Like, otherwise we'll have to
Right.
rethink our programming.
So,
They're like, okay. I'm like, no, I'm serious.
I love it. Yeah,
We
so-
cannot let them win.
But yeah, it was awesome.
So they said at Waukee, when Adrian got it, she's like, well, there might be some high school football players. I go, I'm like, bring it on. Because the Apex came in one day, and I made him do one of the challenges. It was the 666 challenge. They died. They're like, you guys do this here? I'm like, yeah, and our guys do a lot better. I'm like, who's your guys' strength and conditioning coach? Like, totally messing with them. It was so funny.
we had
they could
the
not do
Valley
it.
Rugby girls here the other day for the challenge, and they were watching our athletes do the challenge. They're like, oh my god.
Oh,
yeah.
It's a farmer's challenge right now, and they were
Yeah.
like, what are they doing? I was like, you guys don't want to do that? They're like, I don't think we could.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's funny because you think like all these younger kids are just, it's just different.
Yeah, but,
And it's awesome.
Yeah, so that was a great event. We have the trench run coming up. When is that?
We talked about that. It's so the scheduling is wrong. Like on the printout, it says August 14th, Saturday, August 14th, but I think it's Sunday.
It's Sunday, I think.
So it is Sunday. So we don't know. It's kind of up in the air. They're up in the air on a lot of things. We might be up in the air on a lot of things, but I don't know. It'd be kind of fun to do it.
Yeah.
I'd like not to do it to like, I don't know. I think it'd be fun.
I
need to go into it with like, I'm
doing
just gonna do this to do it
You
because then
won
I
it
get
last time.
competitive.
Yeah, but the last time you did it, you won it.
I think I was just better then, but we'll see.
But you won.
I didn't win the
event.
whole thing. I was like top 3 or something, 4 or 5. I don't know.
I didn't win the whole thing. No, you won the whole thing.
No.
You have the thing that says I got first place in
My age group or something.
whatever age group. Yeah.
It's fun. We should do it. So if you guys are around, are you doing it again?
I'll do it.
Oh, you will.
I'll throw.
See, if he does it again, you know it's not at like.
I'll
terribly
throw
bad.
a knee brace on. I struggled on the last run, and everybody was asking like, is it like a Spartan run or
No, yeah, that's
something
what I
like
was
that?
saying.
It doesn't have those like obstacles and stuff. It has fun like obstacle-esque.
Run through the
different
river,
terrain,
like
basically.
different. Yeah, like
You're running, but you're running through different terrain. So you go in and you do this thing. The coolest part I thought was that they have like a live action military events going on. So like you'll run through smoke, and to your right there's like a medevac with a dude with like a blown off leg getting pulled into a helicopter and pulling away. Like
must have been way back there when I was whipping your ass.
They hadn't gotten there. The helicopter hadn't landed when Amber went by.
Yeah, Amber
They
was
weren't
just
ready
right,
yet.
yeah. But no, it was cool because then they have those different things. Then
Did
they
you
pick
stop
up,
and try to
then they
help
pick
him?
up-
Is that what took you?
Yeah, exactly. Then they pick up a Humvee and like they with a helicopter, and they're like driving it around, and then they have Humvees rolling around like shooting blanks, and so it's kind of like a war games feel that like makes you feel like you're encompassed in what it would feel like in war.
Yeah,
And so
that's cool.
it was really cool to see all that. And then you go through like an obstacle, you go up, and some people went through the tunnel. I said hell no on a tunnel, but I went up a stairs and then back down around the back door and out the stairs, when some people went up and down and through like a ground army crawl tunnel through, and then through a vent, whatever. Then you go and run through trenches, and then you go and run probably a mile of it was like in and out of the river and the sandbars and all that kind of stuff. So that was that was like the most fun. And then you have like a run at the end that was that's where it's a concrete run at the end, and that's where my
Uphill.
and that's where my knees
That's
were struggling. So
Yeah.
I will definitely have to wear a brace, but I would recommend wear a pair of sturdy shoes that you don't care if they get muddy, because it's like a mud run at that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's fun. Then we have our iCubs game coming up as well. So that event is
Is that
at
the
the
weekend
end
you're
of the
gone,
month.
probably? And you'll be here though?
Mhm.
Awesome.
So
Are you
that's
gonna
at the end of the month.
I'm trying to get Liz to go with me since Dan will be at the.
She's going. You guys are
Nice.
going.
All right, you're in.
Liz, this is your
Yeah.
official
Let's do
thing.
it.
All right, so yeah, so that's the rest of the season that we have going on here this month. Anything else going on?
I think that's it.
Hell yeah. Farmers Challenge still rolling strong. So if you want to check scores, check on the app for that. I
Mhm.
think I need to update them. I think I'm a week behind, but that was last Thursday. So we had an interesting week that I have not caught up yet. So other than that, we are out of here. Anything else?
Nope. I think we're good.
Awesome. Thank you again,
Thank you.
Lydia. And remember, you're an athlete. Live like it.
Born an athlete, you'll die an athlete. It's in your DNA.
Live like an athlete so that you can be successful in life.
You're an athlete. Live like it.
ANA, America needs athletes.